Hello and welcome back to part 2. So you might be wondering why there are two boards here. Well, see, the thing is originally my idea worked, but the unfortunate thing happened that where I soldered the 240 and the 14 volt wires, they seem to have made a small connection and things sort of went bang. It was quite spectacular. Unfortunately I missed it on camera. So this is why you see now two boards, because I had to buy a replacement. It just so happens that the replacement actually is from the same model but the model up, and is totally 100% compatible with the LCD panel, but it seems like the board is easier to work with. So that's why I have cut this HDMI cable here, and yeah, as you can see, originally I couldn't repair the HDMI port that I had originally broke off and was intending to use. I tried all kinds of different ways to try and fix it, but yeah, ultimately it didn't work, so I ended up using HDMI 2 port, which actually did work, but the problem was that I'd done something here and caused some kind of, I don't know, connection issue where when I tried to use 4K with this input, the screen went blank, so it could see that there was an input, but it just wouldn't take it. And I assume it's because I have broken some sort of connection on this side, because this side was totally fine. But we can start afresh with this board. They are slightly different layouts. I mean, they're almost identical by the looks of the things here, but they are slightly different. So this has a smaller processor in terms of the die size, and if you notice, the RAM modules are either side, and whereas on this board they are on the right side here. This board supports HDMI 2.0 and 1.4, whereas both of the sockets that were on this were just purely 1.4. But this one also supports AMD FreeSync, which is a nice little addition. So basically I would have upgraded, shall we say. I haven't had too much time to have a look at the rail on this, but I did have an idea as to what I was going to do when I was looking at this, assuming that I was going to get a similar board or the same board. So what the plan was I took the power jack off, because I wanted to see really how it was, what the pinouts were and how they were laid out. And so when I took it off, I realized that actually the center pin here on just there is this one in the middle there. And so I assumed that because normally pins that kind of look like this, with the oval quite large like that, are earth, and I would have thought that this was the positive jack, which actually it's not. That point there, these three on the far outer corners, they're all earth apart from the one in the middle, and I only realized that when I looked really close, and I can see that the mask is actually not connected to this via at all. So what the plan was, or is going to be now with this one, and also the trace for the 14 volt rail goes up here, just right in the middle there, between the capacitors there and I've forgotten what this is, inductor, and it goes straight up the middle, which gives me a lot of room to play with because it comes right up here and all the way up there. So that means what I can do is I've got a lot of space to solder my 14-volt rail. So I could solder it to these two capacitors right there. And what I was going to do again was, instead of soldering my 240-volt line on this side of the board, would actually just be to solder it directly to that pin. So I would have it on the back, the wire come through on the back here, soldered there and stuck down, so it's not actually connected to anything else. It's not going to be able to jump or arc. So I think we'll try it here. And now that I have my bench power supply, I can also do some sort of test. And so yeah, the main 14-volt rail is I believe this track straight up there. Obviously I've got to check that and make sure that obviously it's not connected with anything else. But once I've done all that checking, basically, yep, I'm going to separate that line completely, and then I won't be able to get the 240-volt power jumping over. So that's basically the plan. Okay, so what I've done here is I've marked out two lines. One is just there and the other is right at the bottom here, and that section there of the 14-volt mains rail, we're going to remove that. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to start marking out where I'm going to solder the actual 14-volt power supply wire. Okay, so we have a nice clean section there. So anyway, the next thing I'm going to do is now the HDMI port, the dreaded HDMI port. So we managed to get it off. They are here. Now this time we're going to gently just fold it over like so. Not too much, just a little bit. So it's now sitting flat like so. So I did this off camera, but basically I have glued down the HDMI cable, but also I put some resin around it so it's not going to flop around and you know, mess around and break away the HDMI connector, because that's not very good. So yes, I've done that now. The next step is I've also already tested with my power supply that this will still work with this HDMI cable that I've just plugged in. So I've got my monitor, I plugged it in with the cables and hooked up my power supply. I set it to 14 volts at 2 amps. It turned on, it connected to my laptop, so that's great. And obviously the display came through, so wonderful, that's great news. That means everything is working. So yeah, the next step is to basically just put it into the chassis, solder up the power cables, yeah, and hope for the best. So guys, I've managed to lay out the cabling a little bit. It looks a little bit of a mess at the moment, but actually it's going to turn out pretty okay. I also have a USB extension cable. It looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but this shield here will cover a lot of all of that, so it's nice and neat, not that anybody's going to see it anyway. So yeah, everything's pretty much ready. I just got to get that board in, solder up the connections, and yeah, put the panel in, turn it on, and yeah, I think it's going to go pretty well. So now I've soldered the 14 volt live to the board. So guys, I think we're ready to put the panel in and give it the first test. It's ready, let's plug it in and hope for the best and see if my ingenuity actually worked out, and hope that it doesn't go bang, because that would be very sad. So it's plugged in. Okay, it's on. Hey, Shield came straight on. Oh, I am impressed. Hopefully it doesn't go bang in the next 5 minutes, so let's see what happens. Sweet. $4K. Oh yeah. Nice. Okay. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Okay guys, so we can see that it is working very well. I'm very happy. It means now that my Shield is actually inside my monitor. It's got extra memory, it's running 4K. I can still plug my laptop into it as well. That is absolutely perfect. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. There will be more projects and things going on for sure. I've got some other things planned, so hopefully we'll be able to get those videos on soon. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. See you next time.